All right.
How's life, brother?
Life is good, except for coronavirus and insanity. Good.
Oh, I think we all have a bit of the insanity going on. I know I do. Um, let's see. What we've known each other over 20 years now, right?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, sadly.
Yeah, I think it
We
was
are
in
both
the
that old.
yeah, I think it was in the late 90s. You spent a week trying to kill me.
And I was not successful, might I add.
Either that or you were successful in trying teaching me how to stay alive.
There you go. That's exactly right.
Yeah, yeah, those were the days back when we were young and we could take on the world.
Take on the world, and both of our hair was much shorter back then.
And, and I still had some black in my hair.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, God, that's great. I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Several parts because we've known each other a long time, and I have seen your career go in one trajectory, then another trajectory. I mean, you went from professional diver in the Navy to what was it, astrophysics?
Yeah, it was astronautical engineering. Yeah.
Astronautical engineering,
Yeah.
and now you're Dr. Dituri in hyperbaric medicine.
Yeah, well. So, honestly, it's all about solving the same type problems because the problems are all the same in the atmospheres. So all I wanted to do was learn how to solve problems. So,
And you're doing a great job of it, I gotta say. I gotta say.
well, we're having our fair share of fun, but it's interesting that we can apply the problems that we have under pressure and then apply them above pressure, and trying the application of the problem and solving the problem, and no matter what the environment is, and that's where we're at. So it's kind of fun. I like it.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to touch on that a little bit later as it applies to the coronavirus because I read that article you wrote, but
Sure.
that's for a little bit later. What got you interested in diving in the first place? Because to me, I know you from diving.
Yeah. So this is a great question. My father had a big boat when we were really young, and we lived in New York. And the boat was in a canal. And as you can imagine, a canal in New York is really not very nice place to be. People used to use them as dumping grounds. So my dad had a big enough boat that it was too big to pull out of the water very easily. So
Mm-hmm.
underneath, he had these things called zinc tabs on the shaft of the boat. So they would couple together like that in a C. The C
Mm-hmm.
goes around and make an O. Well, and there was a bolt hole in it, and he said, "Just go underneath the boat and hold your breath, and just go ahead and take this off with this Allen key." So I tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and just couldn't hold my breath long enough. And then finally, my dad, in his infinite wisdom, I was 11, and he gave me a double hose regulator, one that came in front of your face, and the tank was on my back, no BC, over the shoulder harness, and that
Yeah.
was it. A mask. And just before I got in the water, he goes, "Oh, and don't hold your breath." So that was my entire diving lesson. And then I'm sitting in the water, underneath the water, and I'm taking this thing off, and I can only see this far. And then a fish bumps right into my mask, and I'm like, oh, "I love diving."
And then you were hooked. And then a few years later, graduate from high school, go in the Navy enlisted.
Yep.
And what was your rating in the Navy?
So I was a machinist mate to start with, which is a source rating for diver. I became a data processing technician just to kind of broaden my horizons a little bit, but always had feet in diving. And then I worked my way up, earned a bachelor's degree in computer science, and got a commission. And yeah, then got commissioned into the special operations officer pipeline, which is when I met you.
Right back in Hawaii.
Yep.
And you did try really hard to kill me. I remember.
Sorry, my bad.
And I should note, you're trying to, my joking as you're trying to kill me, you were teaching me how to dive the Mach 15 rebreather and not kill myself.
Yes, exactly. So the more we bleed in training, the less we actually die. So, yep.
Mm-hmm. And I bled a lot. So you were in Hawaii, you had that little accident with the explosion.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, that's where you got the nickname Boom Boom. Or Kaboom, Joe Kaboom Dituri.
Yep.
And then you went to Monterey to study engineering in the space.
Astronautical engineering, right. So I took the computer science degree, and I basically just applied the programming knowledge towards the engineering background and aspect of it. And what this was is just, it's life support system stuff. So
Right.
it's all life support systems in space and life support systems underwater and life support systems in general. So.
Right. And then from there, you went to submarine rescue.
Yep. From there, I became the guy who was in charge of the submarine rescue team, and we did the deep diving detachment. I had the 1 atmosphere suits, which was a great fun, and we got to play a little bit. So yeah.
And see if you can get a hold of a couple of those 1 atmosphere suits and let's go play.
Yeah. Yeah. Those things are 1,500 pounds a piece, man. Everybody thinks they're light. They're really heavy, but 2,000 feet, baby.
2,000 feet. So my 20-foot Boston Whaler is not the appropriate tender.
Probably not. I'm thinking no.
No, no. It might cry.
A line from Jaws. We're going to need a bigger boat.
So then you went from submarine to other stuff that we can't discuss.
Briefly, I can give you an overview, but I built dry combat submersible for the Navy.
Right.
So I came to Special Operations Command and they said, hey, you got all that submarine rescue experience. You had independent vehicles and you built submersibles. Come and build us a submersible that we can lock in and lock out of. And I said, okay, and then they gave me a whole bunch of money and we designed and built it from an engineering perspective. Remember, life support system stuff, the same thing. Astronaut, aquanaut, same. So, yeah. So we designed it, built it, and then, yeah.
Yeah, keep them alive. The pressure's either coming from the outside going in or the inside going out.
100%. Yep. You get it.
Yeah, I pretty much understand it a little bit.
Yep.
And then from there, you became
retired.
Dr. Dituri. I remember your retirement.
Yep. We retired from the Navy. It was a good day, and nobody died. It was terrific. And when I did that, just before I did that, I had a couple of guys die on active duty that I knew. And I said, we're smart enough. We can fix this. There's a way around this. We can fix the problem. So all I'm looking to do is solve the life support problem still. So I took that idea that I had, that concept that I had, and I went to the University of South Florida, and they were like, yeah, sure. That's a slam dunk, no brainer. It looks good. So I went ahead and finished a PhD in biomedical engineering, which again, life support system stuff.
Right. And so now you're treating people in hyperbaric chambers.
Right.
And you can explain it a lot better than I can.
So what I wound up doing is now I just do clinical research. I solve problems, right? I solve problems in the environment. So when we have a bunch of people that have osteomyelitis, gaseous gangrene, carbon monoxide poisoning, poorly compromised flaps or wounds that aren't healing, we use hyperbaric medicine or oxygen under pressure to help them heal a little better. For instance, I just did a girl this morning who I just treated a girl this morning who had a traumatic brain injury. 2 2-time concussion, multiple concussions, same place. And she's got a lot of loss, and hyperbarics is good for that. But it's all life support stuff. So, yeah. So now once you get a PhD, you can just go do clinical research because you learn how to do research. So now I can do research on whatever excites me. What excites me today? A year ago, 2 years ago, I was on the ketogenic diet craze and wanted to see what that did for the neurology of the body and how it decreased anxiety and how it helped people in other ways other than losing weight,
Right, right.
So that was the kind of clinical research I did, and I wrote a paper on it, and it got published, and great. That's the goal. All we do is, the beautiful thing now is I'm no longer motivated by a need for money. Not that I don't need money, but I'm not motivated by money anymore. I'm motivated by the problem. And somebody comes to me and goes, I would like to find out if these will help with that. Mm-hmm. Okay. I know how to do a scientific study on it. I know how to write it up. I know how to make sure that, we do it double blind or single blind, or make sure that we do it with all the scientific principles involved so that we can solve the problem and it can stand up to what we call peer review. Because I want my peers to be able to go, oh, that's scientist Joe Dituri. Yeah, he did that. Okay. Yep. Did he do it right? Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, he did it right. Because you have to form your null hypothesis and take yourself out of the research. You can't make yourself excited about the research because all you want to do is be excited about the answer. I don't care what the research is. I just want to be excited about the answer. Whatever the answer is, I'm going to write up. So,
Excellent, excellent. And now you're looking at this as applied to the coronavirus.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, we are finding, so I train a lot of hyperbaric physicians, and I teach them hyperbaric medicine, which is this kind of medicine, diving medicine, if you will. And when I talk to these physicians who go back and do their own jobs regularly, they go back and they do jobs like, hold on one sec, I'm sorry. They go back and do jobs like they're ER attending physicians, or they're the critical care pulmonologist. So they go back and they're treating people who have COVID, and they're saying, hey, Joe, these people are no kidding hypoxic. And it turns out that COVID attacks the type 2 pneumocytes in the lungs, which, as you probably remember from your classes, they help with the surfactant production, and surfactant production reduces the surface tension so you can make it easier to breathe. And that's why everybody's having a hard time breathing, but they're also getting hypoxic. So we're going, okay, how do we get through this? It kind of feels like adult respiratory distress syndrome, but it's not really ARDS. So we're trying to treat it like it is. So we go on ventilators, and then really not. But it turns out, or it's looking like, the current thought process is that hyperbarics can be used because it's nothing more than hypoxia. And how do we get oxygen to the tissues? We increase the oxygen partial pressure, we drive it to the tissues, and then plasma transports oxygen as opposed to just the red blood cells. So it's really neat. It's neat to come through that. Now, there hasn't been a scientific paper done. We haven't done a double-blind study, but we're working on it. I'm researching funding right now,
Okay, great. Great. And so you're going to solve the world's problems, and everyone's going to have a chamber in their house.
We shall see. There's a lot less chambers than there are ventilators. So, boy, we need to get stepping up if we're going to do it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So if you're talking to a university student right now, or a kid just about to go into the Navy, the Marine Corps, wherever, and they wanted to follow in your footsteps, yeah. First, do not blow up your carport.
Yeah, don't do that.
What advice would you give them?
Okay. Something that I found later in life is find your passion. And my dad used to say this to me, and I thought it was just the ramblings of an old man. He says, if you love your job, you will never work a day in your life. And right now, I love my job. Right now, I love my job. The last, 20 years before that, I didn't necessarily love my job. I just did my job. So it was a job.
Yeah.
This is, I get to come to work every day. I get to solve problems. I get to have fun. So find something that gets you, that you're passionate about, and run with that. And I mean, absolutely run with it. Because, a large portion of the jobs that people are going to have 10 years from now haven't even been invented. When
Right.
I was going to school, an internet service provider, that wasn't even a title. Now it's like, it's ubiquitous, a
Hmm.
cell phone dealer. No, never even heard of a cell phone back. So, 10 years from now, there's going to be a new thing, the new XYZ or whatever. So,
Yeah.
just find something that you're passionate about and run with that. Run with it.
Oh, amen, brother. I'm going to have to get up to Kevin's, get my rig back in shape, come on down, and let's go dive the caves.
Yeah, now we're talking. We can do that. Matter of fact, I'm going cave diving on Wednesday with a student who wants to be a CCR instructor for rebreathers and caves.
Awesome. Awesome. That's pretty awesome. I haven't been in a cave for maybe 5 years now.
Oh boy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I took Candy into a cave in Mexico, and it was with an instructor, a cave instructor.
How'd that
Okay.
go?
She hated it. She's
Yeah.
like, "Where's the fish?"
Yep.
So, it's a different type of diving, but, it's a lot of fun, but we definitely need to go diving soon.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. So after this, what's your next challenge?
My next challenge, well, I mean, hopefully we're moving on with this COVID thing. Hopefully we get past it. And what I really want to do is do a paper on the backside of COVID, because what we find is it affects the alveoli, which is a little bag at the bottom of the bronchial brachyoli all the way down to the alveoli in your lungs.
Mhm.
What it finds is that you affect those type 2 pneumocytes, and people have reduced vital capacity at the end. They have shortness of breath, a little substernal irritation, and they feel lethargic. So I want to see if we can do a double blind study on that to figure out whether or not hyperbarics will help somebody that is recovering from COVID. They have the IgG antibody to it. So once you develop that antibody, if we can help you and you're no longer symptomatic, but I'm just helping you heal, then that would be a great thing. And then, we're also looking at breaking the 100-day underwater world record, because right now the world record is 73 straight days. And we are looking to break that by doing 100. And then during that time, we're going to do EEGs, EKGs, blood draws, cortisol samples, and do some science behind it and find out what, look, nobody's ever spent 100 days underwater under pressure. Nobody's ever spent that long. So we don't know what's going to happen.
Where's my invite?
Yeah. Yeah, you could imagine that hyperbaric chambers and pressurization and living underwater, you only get like 2 or 3 people in there. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Kevin's going to be filming, but it'll be me and Dr. Brian O'Connell, who I think you met while you were
Yeah.
out there. So, yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
that'd
right.
be fun.
When we do 101 days
Yeah.
at the next time, I want the invite.
Okay. Yes, it's a very interesting process. But by all means, dude, for that 100 days, we're going to have guest people coming down, and we could do very much this thing. If you want to come down for a day at Jules Verne and just pop in and be part of the 1/100th of the mission time, oh by God, that'd be great.
Oh, I've been down to Jules Undersea Lodge. I've
That's
stayed
where
there
we live.
before.
Yep.
Oh, awesome. We can do that. We
Yeah.
can absolutely do that.
Right. It's easy to swim in there. You come in, you have lunch, and then, you get to be part of it, but you don't have to live with a bunch of stinky guys for 100 days in the same tube.
Yeah, I like that part. I like that part.
Yeah.
And I assume you can't get the ballet down there and, the opera,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't get the plot.
I remember staying there at 100 days. You'll do it.
Yeah, 100 days, somebody else can do it, not me. And what we're going to do is we're going to swim down a bike, a Peloton bike, swim down a Peloton bike, and we're going to work out every day. Like I said, we're going to do scientific experiments on the human body to figure out what really happens, because we really haven't done that since the days of C-Lab. So we need to really get on this stick. I mean, the French are so far ahead of us. There are other societies that are just doing this kind of research, and we're just not anymore because it's not in the budget. So
Yeah.
speaking of which, I'm looking for independent funding. So if you know anybody that is interested in funding a 100-day undersea mission and wants to be a gold sponsor, boy, I'll put your name right on the side of the whole Jules Verne thing.
I left my wallet upstairs.
Yeah. No, I was talking to somebody with bigger pockets like Oracle.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know, I got a few friends at Oracle. I got a Larry doesn't return my calls though, but I got a couple friends there.
Okay, that's good.
Joe, thank you for your time.
No problem, my friend. I really enjoy catching up with you. I really like seeing your posts on Facebook. Thank you. Because you're like, in the absence of doing something political, I'm going to post this joke. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, sometimes my jokes get me in trouble. Yes, I know.
Yeah, but you know what? I love it. It's fun. It's fun and it's funny. And I like to catch up with you. So it's great. Thank you for making the call. Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
All right, Joey. Mahalo.
All right. Be well. Take care, man.
All right. Bye.